how do we protect human intent in the age of generative sameness and infinite outputs and possibility?
Every company has the opportunity to use AI, but not every problem is actually a good fit for AI.
What would you rather have? A tool that thinks for you or a tool that makes you think?
And what we also recommend for companies is make a list of data which you would like to share with such models and which you might not share because it's intellectual property.
It's interesting that during my travels recently, I was in all sorts of events and on stages, and I had to present myself, of course. And I realized that this is the first year where I have a hard time pinning down my identity, like being able to say product designer, or I feel like our roles are expanding and transforming.
3 voices, 1 idea to decode the future.
How to web post the perfect timing to gather people from different fields, from different countries. And today we'll discuss the opportunities of implementation AI in different fields and forms. So could you please share a bit about yourself? What's your current occupation?
Wait, yeah, I can go first.
Yes.
It's interesting that during my travels recently, I was in all sorts of events and on stages, and I had to present myself, of course. And I realized that this is the first year where I have a hard time pinning down my identity, like being able to say product designer, or I feel like our roles are expanding and transforming. And now I've been like thinking about how I can make more impact through content and maybe through art. And so I have a hard time saying I'm a product designer, but like this has been my identity for 15 years. And so, yes, I'm at core a product designer, but more recently I've been doing a lot of AI and design education, talks, consultancy. I have been working in the AI space for a couple of years now. My work in AI started or went deeper when I was at UiPath, working on their first LLM-based product. It was called Clipboard AI, and it won Time Magazine's Best Invention of 2023. It was very well received, and I have 2 patents for it. So I'm a design inventor in the AI space. And then I worked at Miro. I was the first hire for the AI design team, the first AI designer working on their Canvas experience. And I also teach the largest AI for designers course on interaction design foundation. So that kind of helped me disseminate all my knowledge or the things that because I think we all are collectors of information right now, because we have parts of the truth, parts of the system. And so I managed to gather, collect ideas, and then disseminate them through this course. And I'm a content creator. I have a large following. And I post a lot about tech.
Where do you post?
Mostly on Instagram. I have a page called UX Goodies, and it's 200,000 something people. And on LinkedIn more recently, I feel at home on LinkedIn.
Great.
I don't know why. It's more like there's an identity, a deeper identity to everyone I interact with. And on Instagram, where it's a bit like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, do you use AI to assist content creation?
Not that much, because I feel it's very hard. Well, maybe I'm doing it wrong. And I think that if I would spend enough time training it properly, it could simulate my voice. But now I feel that I'm losing the fun in it if I have it draft ideas or so. Everything I post is either informed by my conversations, physical experience. So that's where I draw inspiration from. And then to express it, I use my voice, which is in a certain way, and then AI can't yet replicate it, or it could, but you have to properly train it, and I never spent the time to do that. Create a large system prompt, right? Instruct it. This is how I speak. This is everything about me. I'm gonna shut up now. I'm very excited to learn what Zamina is up to.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really feel you when you said you don't know what your identity is, how to introduce yourself, because I feel like if you think about it, 30 years ago, UX product, did they exist? They were invented. And now I feel we are again on this edge of maybe our roles are changing. Maybe role boundaries are not so strong and strict any longer, especially with AI. And but I think we will talk about it in that conversation here. And where do I come from? I started 15 years ago as data analyst, and I crunched a lot of data. Then moving on to data science, machine learning stuff, and I moved also to the role as a product owner. So I developed systems like recommendation engines for e-commerce shops, foundation models with computer vision data for autonomous driving systems, also predictive maintenance systems in the wind industry sector. So I have a deep knowledge of machine learning. Today, when you do machine learning, you are the perfect fit to build also AI products, because that's also an involvement. So since 3 years, I'm consulting companies to build AI and machine learning products, but we also do some trainings to equip product teams how to implement AI in software development, because I believe, yes, there is quality issues with it and output issues, but also it changes how we interact as product teams. It changes the handoffs, it changes the role boundaries, and I'm looking for people who are innovative and disruptive to think about new ways of working in software development. And I'm really happy to exchange with you too and about that, and also this conference. I think people are very open to technology and to adapt it. Like we said, and before we started the recording, the Ring, I love data. I love to track my own data and analyze everything. And I observe a lot of Rings here in Bucharest. So the adaptation of AI, the devices, it's so high at the moment. And happy to have an exchange with you. So Andrew, your turn.
I think I'm actually working in pretty much the same field. I actually share your background. I started working with machine learning like before the LLM. So when it was like big clumsy data sets and then you are training your own models. I still believe that this is like the area which really generates a lot of value and maybe is underappreciated, because a lot of things which we know and which we love run on this, like when you call an Uber, when you see something on the web which is relevant for you, this is the traditional machine learning at work, but also excited about the new AI, which really democratizes it. So I see that people are using it for more and more day-to-day tasks, and the most excited I am about like the new ways we can allow customers to interact with our products, because if before we had to like structure them and say, okay, this is like the options you have, select something. Now in a lot of cases, so we can ask them to just tell us what you want, and then actually we have now tools to process this and lead them to meaningful outcomes. And by the role, I am the product manager, so I'm still in the good old business of solving customer products with the best tools we have at the moment. And the most progress is happening right now with new AI tools, because the tools we used to have, they are pretty much explored.
Yeah, thank you. So our role at the Recursive is a bit observational. So we see a lot of companies still hesitant to implement AI, implement any tools. What would you suggest? What is the process? How would they start? How should they start? Is AI applicable for each and every company?
So I try to see it on different levels, because now, we are into machine learning, software development and stuff like that. So we are very deep into that. But not every company is so deep or has a tech department that can develop very good AI products. So with the rise of ChatGPT, you can buy AI tools with a very cheap amount. And that's for me a totally different game. Because when you buy ChatGPT or stuff like that, you buy software as a service, you buy it very cheap, and you can improve individual productivity gains from each employee. So you are on individual productivity level. You are not changing the way how you do your customer journey, for example, or the offering. So that's for me the entry level. Using ChatGPT, one employee can decide if using ChatGPT in content creation, for example, marketing, finance, that are usually departments who can use that. And then on the second level, when you decide, okay, that's a tool benefit, you can decide, okay, do we want to change the whole marketing process, maybe the whole content generation? Then you have to involve your team, and you have to involve them and ask them, okay, how can we make sure that the AI output is qualified, is good enough, and stuff like that. And I think for supporting processes like marketing and finance, if a company has these departments, yes, I think there is potential that companies can use it. But for the last part, which where our background is from, building machine learning AI products, maybe not every company is suitable for that. But what do you think about?
Actually, I wouldn't. If I can rephrase the question a little bit, I think every company has the opportunity to use AI, but not every problem is actually a good fit for AI. So some problems are not really benefited. You can use AI to solve it, but you are not really getting the returns on that. And some problems are not really suitable for AI. For example, I totally agree with you that content generation should remain like a human activity, at least for now, because otherwise, you recognize that immediately it's not really genuine. Still, we're not at the point where it can help you phrase a genuine sentence or your thoughts.
But do you think the content generation, let's go deeper into that topic, because I believe maybe we have a hybrid approach here, because sometimes it's good to have a draft and then a human person is overlooking the text and then shaping it with their own tone of voice, for example. What do you think? Because
well, I have trouble remembering the exact study I recently read, but as I was preparing for a panel I did on how do we protect human intent in the age of generative sameness and infinite outputs and possibilities. So documenting this human intent protection, I stumbled upon a study that was kind of measuring how much AI leads us into certain results based on how we operate it. And I think the advice or the learning from that was that you shouldn't trust it with the first draft necessarily, which is how we currently mostly think about it. Like, let's just drop something with AI and then we'll refine it by human head. And it's also what I have been advertising or recommending. Just start from something. But then it turns out that the best results or the less biased or dating paths come from a very intentional first draft that comes from the person. So what this study revealed is that you should be able to articulate as much detail as you want, as you can, about that specific idea or goal or piece of content you want to create. And then AI will provide you with kind of the continuation of that. And then you refine it again. And then it becomes this iterative cycle. So I think that what I've noticed is that, and it stands empirically, like in my own work, when I have good clarity over where I want to get with a certain piece of, with an idea, or like whenever I use ChatGPT to kind of inform my brainstorm things together, the more clarity I have on the topic or the problem or the main ideas, the better the final outcome is. So I think we have to, obviously, it's a prompting problem, it's a context problem. The better context, garbage in, garbage out, the better context you give it, the better it will understand where you're getting to. But I think it's tricky because people tend to use it very much to overcome especially if you're not used to creating these types of let's say, products of your thinking, right? Like articles or LinkedIn caption or whatever you want to produce. If you don't have that, you're not exercised in that, it's easy to just reach out and tell it, give me 10 ideas about, I don't know what, and choose one and then post about it and so on. So I think we should be very intentional, and it's a problem of, global AI literacy, one that we as consultants, people in tech, have an opportunity to kind of educate people on better prompting, better intention, better context to start with. So
what I observe and what I see across many companies are two challenges which are always there. One you just described is that AI has one big limitation, and that is context understanding. the less you give on context information from your company, the worse is the output. If you give more context, the better becomes the output. That's one problem. The second problem is that AI slop problem. So people tend to get the output and think, okay, it's polished text, polished content. I just use it. But when you look deeper into it, it's just generic text.
Yeah.
So we have the third problem with the AI slop problem is that especially junior people are not so deep into knowledge and stuff like that. And they just take the output and then, I don't know, publish content, for example, instead of giving their knowledge into it. So my question is, how do we make sure that juniors are not unreflectively take the AI output? And how do we make sure that juniors are giving also information and reflect on the output instead of just posting it? Because then with, for example, LinkedIn bubble, a lot of people are just posting generic stuff, right?
Yes.
And for me, my LinkedIn bubble has an AI slop problem because people are not looking at the text if there's real value in it. And that's two main challenges we see. Yeah.
I think that the way we overcome is like we provide the feedback to the system. For example, if somebody I'm not sure I'm 100% reliable on that, but you feel this watery taste, right? When it's smooth, but it doesn't. It's not contrastive. It's not you, because it's built on a lot of text, so it gives you average, but you are not average. You want to express your personality, your thoughts. So even if you maybe use two words which don't really go well together, well, you are creating the new meaning, and this is what you want to do with your posts. So I think you shouldn't use it even for working communication, because you want to be yourself. You want to express this exactly differential thing, not being smooth, but contentless. But I'm really curious to know, what do you think about the designs created by AI? Because they also they're very smooth and they provide this very, very quick start, which I think is exciting. But do you think it's really beneficial for the industry? Or
this is a very difficult question.
Provocative question.
It's a controversial stage in our conversation. I'm not sure. I think if you would have asked me this 2 years ago, I would have said, don't do it. Just experiment for the sake of learning and seeing the possibilities, but it's really not there yet. I think some things are getting better, especially with vibe coding. I think sometimes they produce good results. To the earlier point we made about context and proper prompting and details and just giving it the vision as well articulated as we can. I think when you give it references or just show it, sometimes you can, what I do when I vibe code, I construct very deep prompts using an LLM first, and then I paste it into Lovable. So with that LLM, I co-create the styling, the small details, captions, text, copy, buttons. So there's a lot of work that goes to prepare whatever you feed the vibe coding platform. And then sometimes I get nice results. They're not necessarily publishable immediately, but they're on the right track. And then they don't require, when I do very detailed prompts, it requires much less editing. And I think that now we're all in a track where we feel like we could infinitely edit, but it's expensive from all points of view, like from nature to our own pockets. Like it's expensive to keep editing. So I think we will kind of be naturally, organically trained into being able to articulate the better start to get better things. But the UI I'm seeing produced is sometimes good, most of the times bad. I haven't been using Figma Make as much, but I've heard a lot of complaints from designers when it comes to the quality of the UI it produces. And so I think that's not quite there yet. But again, if you feed it visual references, it gets much better. So I think that's where otherwise it produces something very stereotypical, which is almost wireframing. It doesn't feel good. But if you kind of push it a bit in terms of quality with showing it how it should be, look, feel, then it could produce pretty good UI. But I never used it. Really used it, right? So for professional designers, and I think this is the case for all the tech roles. If you're a professional already, like the junior problem you raised, which is very interesting. What do you do when you don't have that body of knowledge and experience that gives you the critical thinking skills and being able to discern between this is good, this is bad? We have it because we were lucky enough to build that experience in the analog, non-AI world, right? But they don't have the discern capabilities because they didn't go through all the friction and discipline learning that we did to get here. So I think that if you're a seasoned designer, and this is the last point I'm making, if you're a seasoned designer, you're not happy with what AI produces for UI. So you're going to do it yourself from the beginning because it ends up just inviting more edits, more refining, more effort.
I try to see it and compare it with coding, because if you think about coders, right? People coding or developers, they are also complaining about AI generated code, but they use it as a tool for maybe fixing bugs or getting the first draft or finding, I don't know, a review or be faster in the review of the code. And when you look at that role, we also see a hybrid tool approach with AI. Do you think in product design it will also evolve? Because what you said, maybe that's a matter of time that the tools are becoming better, and maybe once we had Figma always as a go-to tool for designers, maybe Figma and AI plugins are the future. What do you think about it? And it's more like a tool for designers, because designers are very strategic thinkers, right? And AI is just a tool which gives me the output. So if you think about, output is generated easily, but a mind who is sitting in front of the desk and shape the product is still needed. And the tool is just changing in a way.
Yeah. I think we're probably going to get there. I think all roles from engineers to product managers are going to get their own AI assistant that is very advanced as a junior, like an advanced junior designer or product manager by their side to co-create things with. I think OpenAI just yesterday released this pack of prompts for each roles. Like,
yeah.
So
I didn't have a look.
we have to try that.
Yes.
Maybe that's where, right, we're going to get finally we're going to get the design assistant that we don't have to deeply put a lot of effort into it. We just use these prompts. I think one thing I believe in is something that Uber demoed at a Config conference a couple of years ago. They were building an internal AI text-to-design generator that was trained on their design system. And basically, you don't have to bother with making sure the styling is correct, the brand guidelines are respected, it fits the design system. So you would just say, I need a screen for error, I don't know what, I need a login screen. And then because it's trained on the visual language of the company, it generates it accordingly and it just works. And so everybody in the company could prompt to design. I think when you have good controlled, clear constraints and you control the let's say playground for these for generating UI with AI, you can have great results. But like if you're independent, if you're starting a project, if you're doing discovery work or visual research or trying to articulate a brand for someone in the beginning, right? I don't think you can, like AI works when it has very clear guidelines or rules, right? In a way. And so if you have a design system, it could work.
I think actually you are straight at the point, because what AI is good is repeating the pattern. So if you have the clear pattern, then and I think in a lot of cases that there are parts of product which are purely technical, right? Where you don't want to surprise the customer. Actually, you want to be as predictable as you can.
Yes.
Right? Like I don't want a creative interface to reset my password, but somebody needs to do it, and it's boring. You don't want to bother humans with this. Humans should be thinking about the new ways to interact with the product. But I believe those parts which are more technical but still needs to exist, they can be automated for good
From your conversation, I hear that you consider AI as a tool, but we cannot escape from the general theories nowadays about AGI, artificial superintelligence. What do you think about that? And what is your perspective on the topic?
AGI?
To be honest, I don't, because we're using, or at least I will speak for myself, I'm using AI as a tool, and I see constraints. I don't feel that I'm really touching the surface of maybe really the deep research on the AI. The extent it is available right now to us, to ordinary customers and maybe builders. It's a tool. You remember we used to live without Excel spreadsheets, right? And we survived somehow. Now we have a tool which is capable of a lot of things. So it does a lot of things better than humans. And this calculation machine, you don't need to multiply things now in your head or using paper. And this is nice. But what we're using right now is has certain limitations. And it fits nicely in what we have, but in very rare cases, it really turns things upside down or completely disrupts the way we used to work.
If I think about AGI, I see it as a distraction from the actual problems that AI is presenting us with. I feel there are more immediate threats like security of information, using the systems in the wrong hands of evil that use it for propaganda, producing infinite content that pollutes our thinking, and then we can't have clarity. And it steers political opinions. It's very persuasive, especially when it has data on us. So then it can really alter the way we vote or whatever. So there are threats to democracy. It threatens the truth or whatever our definition was. I'm not particularly worried about AGI. I'm more worried about the social effects, like the social impact and how it can have nefarious effects on how we think, the cognitive reduction capabilities, which are perceived as a risk by the scientific community. And some studies have shown that knowledge workers are kind of over-relying on AI sometimes. And to your point about juniors as well. And one last thought about AGI. So I think there are multiple other things that should worry us. But why I don't think about AGI as much is because I feel it's interesting. I'm wondering whether we would even see it when we see it, right? Recognize it. Because the academia, and I've researched this space from a place of passion, has trouble aligning on a definition of consciousness. Like, we don't even know how to define human consciousness. And do dogs have consciousness? Do plants have? Where do we stop? Where do we draw the line? So we don't have an alignment on what it means to be a conscious, sentient being. Feelings, like cats have feelings, right? It's really, are cats are general intelligence? Not artificial, clearly, but are they you get my point. I feel that this is a vocabulary problem more than a real problem.
Maybe my view to AGI is also that I also did some research because it's an academia topic at the moment. And I observed there are two directions at the moment. The one direction is that AGI is just a marketing gig for an OpenAI, and we will never have that. That's the one side. And the other direction is, yes, AGI will maybe come up. If you remember 2 years ago, this open letter from scientific researchers saying to stop on AGI research because they are not sure about the danger and so on. And in this direction, where people believe on AGI, they also predicted that we will see it in the next 5 years or even faster because of this global competition between US and China with DeepSeek. So I'm not sure if I decided already if I'm in the first or in the second direction. I also have my, I don't know what to think about it, doubts about it, like you said, about consciousness and so on. But I believe that we will see a lot of developments in AI if it ever comes to its own consciousness and decide on its own. could be, not sure. If you see Claude and all these studies, it decided already to redirect coding structures and so on. So let's see what will happen. But I think it's very interesting to observe this movement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like how you put it as a marketing strategy from OpenAI, because this narrative is really, really well positioned in the society, and everyone knows about it, everyone discusses it. So somehow it attracts the attention to AI.
Yeah.
But another topic is how do we enhance the AI literacy?
Yesterday at a How to Web event, I was talking to this teacher that leads the National Olympics lot. I don't know the word in English, but he leads like the smartest people in Romania when it comes to math. He realized that what's being taught in schools here, and that institutions are not very open to adjusting to the market reality, and there's a huge disconnect between what they're teaching and what's happening in companies. So these students that are stellar in terms of intellectual performance have trouble adjusting to the real world work, because there is no bridge of AI literacy that's being supported by civic society and government and administration in any way. So there are no programs. There are companies. Some companies, like from a designer standpoint, there was this design fund organization. I think they're doing BC in design started companies. They did a study and they show that only 7% of companies have a budget for AI education, which is insane. Like, what are we doing? What are we waiting for? People need to be, because that's when you see AI Slop appearing. When you don't invest in educating people on, and I don't mean educating in a condescending way, but like just giving them the instruments to navigate this revolution, right? And the challenges, especially the dangers of it. How are you expecting them to? There was this headline in One Down AI yesterday, or I don't know if we want to mention other publications, but there was this headline yesterday that said that companies are losing billions cleaning up the AI slop inside. So they have to deal with just cleaning up, retroactively fixing what AI used poorly produces. So why don't you take those billions and invest just one of them in educating people on AI? And I think it's a matter of time before we introduce it as schools, introduce it in companies, have these programs for really training people on how to operate these systems in a productive way. Yeah, actually, you're right. You're a techno-optimist. Better.
I believe that, there's nothing really special happening. We adopted a lot of tools as a humanity, and I hope that we will develop standards for this one. And genuinely observing the tech society, maybe I see that actually the response to develop the regulations which respond to like the machine learning or AI, it was pretty quick. And right now I think we have very healthy, very reasonable security text in place that we don't share too much information. We don't use it where we should not, where human decisions definitely needed. So I think we're not really doing something completely wrong here.
I think the European AI Act made a very good step here. So since February, if you have AI tools in your company, you need to train your employees on that. And this regulation, so based in Germany, regulation we take very seriously. So since February, a lot of companies approached us and said, okay, can you make this basic training for us? Because yes, we use ChatGPT company-wide, and we see a gap across these employees because some of them are very enthusiastic about AI tooling, then they prompt a lot, and others are not. They are very skeptical. And this gap must be closed with the AI literacy training. So what can you take out of it? How do you prompt? Which frameworks? What do I need to qualify with human judgment? So in these basic trainings, that's a very first good step. And what we also recommend for companies is make a list of data which you would like to share with such models and which you might not share because it's intellectual property, maybe like code or financial data and stuff like that. Even OpenAI says, no, it's not going to be used for training. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you want to host things on premise and have it not in an LLM. So that's the starting point, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you all. Our conversation is coming to an end, so I would like you to share a last message, question if you have, anything, or maybe just say bye.
My message is use AI, but stay critical, because that's our human uniqueness. And our human uniqueness is also intuition, context, learning, expertise, empathy. So try to use AI as a tool, but don't trust it 100%. Stay, true to your values.
I think I want to build on top of that. And yes, also an invitation to preserving critical thinking. One of the talks I attended recently ended with this line that really made an impression on me. And it says, what would you rather have? A tool that thinks for you or a tool that makes you think? And I realized that I've been sleeping on the answer, because in a way, why not a tool that thinks for me? But you really also want to keep thinking about the work you're doing and have this kind of protect your metacognition. So the ability to think about your thinking process, think about what you're doing, think about your intention, your goals, your vision, like articulate those kinds of, intentional plans for action. No.
Really nice message.
Yeah, I totally second that. I think, we have a new tool, so let's use it for good. Let's use it to help our customers solve the problems in a new way. This is exciting. This is really exciting, and I think that if you stay reasonable, it's not a big trouble to be sane with that. So
Thanks so much.
Your message.
My message, read the Recursive. And watch our new podcast season.
We will.
Yeah.
The Recursive Roundtable. 3 voices, 1 idea to decode the future.